Assalamu alaikum. This is Afra Anjum welcoming you all to Evening News. Former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Khaleda Zia was buried at Ziaudan, where she was laid to eternal rest with full state honours beside the grave of her husband, martyr President Zia Rahman. At around 4 p.m., the vehicle carrying her body arrived at Ziaudan. Her remains were then taken down from the refrigerated van and transferred to another vehicle, which carried her to the mausoleum complex. Khaleda Zia was buried at approximately 4:30 p.m. Her elder son and the party's acting chairman Tarique Rahman was the first to descend into the grave. With his own hands, he laid his mother to rest in eternal sleep. At around 4:15 p.m., the burial proceedings beside the grave of He emerged a short while later, shortly after 4:30 p.m. She was given a guard of honor. In her lifetime, she was seen to weep in public only twice. The first was when the body of President Zia Rahman was brought to Dhaka from Chattogram. The second was on the day when she was evicted from her residence within the cantonment. Standing before the media with tear-filled eyes, the nation witnessed the silent agony of resolute women. After that, no one ever saw her cry. Amid imprisonment, repression, persecution, countless humiliations, and physical suffering, she remained steadfast. That uncompromising leader, a symbol of resistance against authoritarianism, three-time former Premier Khaleda Zia has finally surrendered herself to the ultimate truth of life. This time she did not weep herself. Instead, she left millions in tears as she departed for the hereafter in the month of victory. She now lies in eternal rest beside her beloved husband, Shahid President Zia Rahman, in peaceful sleep. The Janaza of indomitable Khaleda Zia has been held. At around 3 p.m., the Janaza prayer was offered under the leadership of Mufti Abdul Malik, Khatib of National Mosque Baitul Mokarram. Prior to the prayer, BNP Standing Committee member Nozrul Islam Khan delivered opening remarks. This was followed by an address on behalf of the family and the party by Tarique Rahman. The funeral prayer was then performed. Those present included Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus, members of the Advisory Council, the chiefs of the three armed forces, Tarique Rahman, and leaders and activists from various levels of the BNP. Also in attendance at the Janaza venue on Manik Mia Avenue were the British High Commissioner, as well as ambassadors and representatives from 32 diplomatic missions, including the United States, the European Union, Russia, China, Iran, and Qatar. The parliament complex, as far as the eye can see, there are people, and nothing but people. They have come to bid farewell to Khaleda Zia. This vast human tide makes it clear that in her final moments, Khaleda Zia had come to embody a symbol of national unity, transcending her identity as a former premier. People have traveled from every corner of the country to pay their last respects to Khaleda Zia, a leader of Bangladesh. Even nature itself seems to be bidding her farewell. The biting cold of recent days has given way to gentle sunshine across the city, offering some comfort to the mourners who have gathered. By around 1:30 p.m., crowds had filled the Parliament complex, Manik Mia Avenue, and the surrounding roads, with the surge of people extending as far as Farmgate. In view of her death, the government declared a public holiday and announced 3 days of state mourning. Under tight security, the body of Begum Khaleda Zia arrived at the South Plaza of the National Parliament. Her remains were brought in a refrigerated van draped in the red and green national flag, in accordance with state protocol. Throughout her long political journey, Khaleda Zia's life was marked by a history of highs and lows, imprisonment, humiliation, and relentless struggle. During the days of the independence war, she endured captivity, the grief of losing her husband, anti-authoritarian movement, incarceration, and exile, all borne with silent resilience. Even amid unbearable personal loss and the relentless storms of political life, she never broke. Her quiet resistance stood as a symbol of patience, dignity, and unwavering self-confidence. Tarique Rahman seeks prayers at his mother's funeral. The funeral prayer of Khaleda Zia was held in the presence of hundreds of thousands of worshippers. On the occasion, Tarique Rahman spoke on behalf of the family and the party, asking everyone to pray for his mother. He also sought forgiveness from all.
গণতন্ত্রের মাতা সে অবস্থানকালে প্রকৃতপক্ষে বিনা তাদের দুই পুত্রের মাঝে জ্যেষ্ঠ পুত্র
আমি মরহুমা বেগম খালেদা জিয়ার বড় সন্তান তারেক রহমান। আমি আজকে এখানে উপস্থিত সকল ভাইয়েরা এবং বোনেরা যারা উপস্থিত আছেন, মরহুমা বেগম খালেদা জিয়া জীবিত থাকাকালীন অবস্থায় যদি আপনাদের কারো কাছ থেকে কোনো ঋণ নিয়ে থাকেন, দয়া করে আমার সাথে যোগাযোগ করবেন, আমি সেটি পরিশোধের ব্যবস্থা করব ইনশাআল্লাহ। একই সাথে উনি জীবিত থাকাকালীন অবস্থায় ওনার কোনো ব্যবহারে, ওনার কোনো কথায় যদি কেউ আঘাত পেয়ে থাকেন, তাহলে মরহুমার পক্ষ থেকে আমি আপনাদের কাছে ক্ষমা প্রার্থী। দোয়া করবেন আল্লাহ তাআলা যাতে ওনাকে বেহেশত দান করেন।
BNP senior leader Nozrul Islam Khan has alleged former Premier Begum Khaleda Zia was effectively murdered by being denied proper medical treatment and that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina can never be absolved of responsibility for this. Speaking at Manik Mia Avenue ahead of Khaleda Zia's janaza, he highlighted her life and work in written statement. He said that Khaleda Zia had been imprisoned for over 2 years from 8th February 2018 under false charges, falling victim to the personal vendetta of what he called fascist Hasina. Due to lack of medical care, she became seriously ill. The entire nation witnessed that she had entered the prison walking but left the solitary confinement gravely ill. According to Nozrul, both domestic and international doctors observed that her health deteriorated progressively over the subsequent 4 years of house arrest because she was not allowed to receive advanced medical treatment abroad. As a result, this indomitable leader ultimately succumbed to illness. He reiterated that Sheikh Hasina can never escape responsibility for her death. The statement highlighted various aspects of Khaleda Zia's life, including her birth, family background, marriage to martyr President Zia Rahman, her entry into politics under crisis following Zia Rahman's martyrdom, subsequent electoral victories, and her tenure as premier, among other details.
ফাঁসিবাদী হাসিনার ব্যক্তিগত প্রতিহিংসার শিকার হয়ে মিথ্যা মামলায় 2018 সালের 8 ফেব্রুয়ারি থেকে 2 বছরের বেশি সময় অন্ধকার কারাগারে আবদ্ধ থাকার সময় উপযুক্ত চিকিৎসার অভাবে দেশনেত্রী দারুণভাবে অসুস্থ হয়ে পড়েন। সমগ্র দেশবাসী সাক্ষী। পায়ে হেঁটে তিনি কারাগারে প্রবেশ করেছিলেন, কিন্তু নির্জন কারাগার থেকে তিনি বের হলেন চরম অসুস্থতা নিয়ে। দেশ বিদেশের চিকিৎসকদের মতে পরবর্তীতে গৃহবন্দিত্বের 4 বছর তাকে বিদেশে চিকিৎসার সুযোগ না দেওয়ার কারণেই তার অসুস্থতা বৃদ্ধি পেয়েছে এবং তার ফলশ্রুতিতে অবশেষে তাকে মৃত্যুর কাছে হার মানতে হলো এই অপরাজয় নেত্রীর। তাই এই মৃত্যুর দায় থেকে ফ্যাসিবাদী হাসিনা কখনো মুক্তি পাবে না।
Earlier on a winter morning, the refrigerated vehicle draped in the national flag of Bangladesh carrying Khaleda Zia was taken from Evercare Hospital to the Gulshan residence of her son, Tarique Rahman. Their relatives and party leaders and activists paid their final respects. Members of the family, including Tarique Rahman, were seen reciting verses from the Holy Quran. An atmosphere heavy with emotion prevailed. After remaining there for 2 hours, the refrigerated vehicle bearing Begum Zia proceeded through Gulshan, Bonani, Mohakhali and Jahangir Gate, and amid the love of hundreds of thousands of people reached the Parliament complex area. Bangladesh was wrapped in red and green. The flag she had carried alone throughout her life as a symbol of the nation was the very flag in which she was enfolded for her final journey. The BNP chief, who had stood guard all her life over the independence and sovereignty of the 56,000 square miles of the country, was taken out of Evercare Hospital under tight security provided by the Special Security Force and brought to the Gulshan residence of her beloved son, Tarique Rahman. To catch one last glimpse of their dear leader, Begum Zia's longtime comrades arrived in Gulshan with tear-filled eyes. The woman at whose call they had leapt into the streets, for whose freedom they had raised fiery slogans, had departed in the pain of her passing. All were left speechless. The child who had felt the tender touch of a loving mother's hand at the bedside now stood equally mute. How many are blessed at the moment of farewell to have their children recite the Quran in prayer for their forgiveness? After the family's tribute of love and respect, the refrigerated vehicle carrying the lifeless body of the country's first woman premier once again set off under heavy security along Manik Mia Avenue. Along both sides of the road, Khaleda Zia was bathed in the grief-stricken homage of countless people. Pushing through the sea of mourners, the body of uncompromising leader was brought to the National Parliament grounds, the very parliament where she had spoken of independence and the struggle for the emancipation of working people became a witness to this historic farewell. Marked by the love of the masses, she will remain in the hearts of people, in their reverence and in their prayers. Several foreign ministers, special envoys and representatives from a number of countries attended the funeral prayer and paid their final respects to Khaleda Zia. At the South Plaza of the National Parliament complex, India's Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar, handed over a condolence message on behalf of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to BNP Acting Chairman Tarique Rahman. Jaishankar stated that Begum Zia's vision and values would continue to provide guidance in strengthening their partnership. Among those who paid their last respects and took part in the funeral prayer were the Speaker of Pakistani Parliament, Sardar Ayaz Siddique, Bhutan Minister of Foreign Affairs, D.N. Dungyel, the Special Envoy of the President of the Maldives, Ali Haider Ahmed, Nepal's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Balananda Sharma, and Sri Lanka Foreign Minister, Vijitha Herath. Representatives from several other countries also attended the funeral prayer and paid their final respects to Begum Khaleda Zia. Shahid President Zia Rahman is a name that instantly evokes the image of man of simplicity, modesty and frugality. In the 44 years following his martyrdom, his life partner Begum Khaleda Zia worked tirelessly to translate his ideals into reality. Although she could have chosen a life of comfort, free from politics, she did not. Instead, she made her husband's principles the guiding path of her own life. She embraced a politics rooted in simplicity, tolerance, and personal integrity. Throughout her long political career, she endured vindictiveness from her opponents, imprisonment, and in recent years, prolonged illness. She bore everything in silence, teaching by example how to fight injustice without compromise. We often hear that power changes people, yet history bears witness to a few individuals who remained unchanged, even at the pinnacle of authority. Shahid President Zia Rahman stands as a shining example. Rising from a military officer to a successful statesman, he maintained an austere and simple way of life even while holding the highest office of the state. No trace of luxury, abuse of power or corruption could ever be attached to his name. He believed that power was not meant to be enjoyed but was a sacred trust. Even his fiercest political opponents, whenever they criticized his politics, were compelled to acknowledge his integrity. When Zia Rahman embraced martyrdom in 1981, Begum Zia was known only as a housemaker. Yet in the interest of the nation, she stepped out of the household and into the harsh arena of politics. She again made her husband's ideals the compass of her life, practicing a politics of simplicity, tolerance, and personal honesty. Even while in state power, her personal life remained restrained and disciplined. She endured prolonged political persecution, imprisonment, and illness with quiet resilience. Khaleda Zia has now departed from this allure of the world and journeyed to the hereafter. Yet she had left behind her principled character. She has shown how to stand firm against injustice without compromise. Times change, governments change, but history ultimately delivers its verdict based on character. Adios, uncompromised leader. BNP acting chairman Tarique Rahman is today not merely a political leader, but a silent bearer of a lifetime of painful stories and memories marked by rise and fall. The long tale of losing his loved ones, one after another, his father, his younger brother, and most recently his mother, has become another name for his life itself. At every turn, scarred by loss, he now stands as a true leader, a solitary traveler carrying sorrow within. In the harsh realities of politics, he is a leader. In his personal life, he is a lonely son and a brother. Tarique Rahman's life resembles a long journey of grief and struggle. Born on 20th November 1965 in Dhaka, he was the eldest son of former President Zia Rahman and former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia. Yet even in childhood, he lost the protective shadow of his father. In 1981, at just 16 years of age, Tarique Rahman was bereaved of his father. From then on, his mother became the sole refuge for both him and his younger brother, Arafat Rahman Koko. Despite her intense political commitments, Khaleda Zia sheltered and nurtured her sons with care. In his mother's absence, his younger brother became Tarique Rahman's closest companion, sharing childhood joys and sorrows and dreams. But the cruelty of politics spared not even that bond. In 2007, the two brothers were imprisoned together. In 2008 began Tarique Rahman's long life in exile. It was during that exile that the greatest blow came in 2015, with the death of his beloved younger brother, Arafat Rahman. In 2018, his mother was imprisoned. An impenetrable wall erected by the authoritarian regime stood between the mother and son, denying them the chance to meet for years. At last, in her final moments on the hospital bed, Tarique Rahman was by his mother's side. Before his eyes, the last light of refuge faded away. To overcome the grief of losing his father and brother, he had looked into his mother's eyes, but those eyes too have now closed forever. Yet, at the moment of farewell, the message his mother left behind was become the source of his strength. The struggle for the country and its people will not cease. Before ending, let's have a look on the Crown Cement headlines once again. Nation bids farewell to Begum Khaleda Zia, laid to eternal rest beside husband Zia Rahman. Sea of people joins janaza of indomitable leader Tarique Rahman, urges forgiveness. India FM Pakistan speaker, among others, joined funeral of former Prime Minister. And that's all from the newsroom for now. To know updates, videos of this bulletin, visit our website www.ntvbd.com. Besides, visit our YouTube and verified Facebook page for updates over NTV's all popular programs and bulletins. Our next bulletin, Shonthar Khobor, will be aired in Bangla at 7:30 p.m. Thank you for being with us. Have a good time.